I just broke shomer and it felt so good. I broke shomer when I touched her with my elbow. And then I forgot. It kept on going. I just broke shomer. It felt great. I didn't mean to do it. It was literally an accident. Oh, it felt so good when I touched her with my elbow. I didn't mean to do it. It was literally an accident. And at the time I was like, this kid is a genius. And Jacob and I were very shomer on that trip.
You really wanted to touch each other so bad the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And you just couldn't because you were so Frum.
This is the greatest song I've ever heard. I got dressed today. I don't ever get dressed. You guys are probably also like, whoa. I got dressed. I put cover up on. Because I don't know if anyone else does this, but like, do you still pick your zits?
Oh my God. It's like, what are they there for? Also, like, truly, you're telling me a zit, like, doesn't heal 5 times faster?
1,000%.
If you just pop it and put a pimple patch on it?
Pop it, you clean it out. It doesn't look great for a few days, and then it's gone.
And then it's gone. Rather than you don't pop it and it's there for 2 weeks.
The problem is I pick my zits, and then I kind of like, it's kind of like a hobby almost at this point. So I like have a few that I'm harvesting. So I'm like, I have to cover that shit up before I get on here.
But when you pick a zit and it's the best feeling in the whole wide world.
Literally.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
Just
it's amazing.
Juice coming out of your face.
Artem grows one enormous blackhead.
Is it on his beard?
No, it's on his torso. It's the weirdest place for a blackhead.
Oh my
but
gosh.
It's enormous.
And you pop it?
Yeah.
And
I watch
back?
it and I watch it for months.
And you watch the playback.
And it grows back.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It's unbelievable. And literally, like, every couple days, I give a check-in on how's my blackhead doing.
Yeah.
God, how's my blackhead doing?
I can't really watch like the pimple popping videos.
I agree. I don't want to watch someone else doing it. I only want to experience it first person.
Yeah, it's like sometimes gets a little nauseous. It's a little much.
Yeah.
What I do watch, which people find to be gross. I don't think it's gross. I actually think it's neutral.
Uh-huh.
Earwax extraction videos.
Yes.
Oh,
those are
the
great.
best. And there's not enough of them.
Do you also have too much earwax in your ears?
I don't have as much as I wish I had for these videos. I've been to the auntie and I'm like, can you extract? He's like, no, they look pretty good. I'm
Damn.
like, fuck. Yeah.
I have too much earwax, so I'm always like,
Lucky.
Like, you come and you extract it for me.
Oh my God.
I've gone to the urgent care multiple times because my ears were so clogged.
That's my dream.
I needed them to get it out.
Can you invite me next time?
Yeah. Well, I'll put it on your calendar.
I'm sorry.
A VIP.
I don't need to be invited
party.
to any more of your parties that are super cool. You know, I'm coming to that.
Just the earwax removal party.
Yeah.
Welcome to Yenta.
Hey.
It's an intimate episode.
It's a earwax. It's a body horror episode.
Yeah, sorry, everybody.
The podcast that's sometimes about comedy, sometimes about Judaism, and always about gossip.
Gossip.
Today on the podcast, we have the amazing
Rachel Olshin. We're so excited you're here. You are the co-creator of the Hamantaschen Monologues, the show,
and the podcast,
and soon to be announced podcast,
Yes.
which is a show that tours the country doing live storytelling about Jews and sexuality
and bodies.
And it's so
And
good.
we both spoke on it.
We've both been
and
in
we
it.
were both hits.
Oh my God, they were
Huge hits.
fucking amazing.
Huge
like
hits.
like screaming.
So much so that Antonia's story is actually going to be on our premiere episode.
So
Huge.
get ready to scream. Go listen to the Hamantaschen Monologues.
I mean, every story is amazing. Ray's story was incredible. Every story is special in all of its ways because it's somebody being vulnerable and sharing something about, as you know, it's a vulnerable podcast, sharing something about their life, and they can be funny and silly, and it can be like person who's never public spoke before trying something new and really, really cool. And like when I hadn't listened to your story in about 2 years. Since
Yeah.
I listened to it again for the pod. I was like, this is such a barn burner. This is such a fucking great story.
Shua
is a
texted
barn
me
burner?
about it.
What's a barn burner?
that a word that
Welcome
people
to
use?
American
America.
culture.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Like you burn the, like
It's
like it
so
just burns
good.
down the house.
Yes.
Got it.
Because parties happen in barns.
Of course they do.
And we would basically...
How did I not know that?
You would basically go in... I'm assuming this was the 1990s. You would go to your neighborhood barn and you would meet a suitor.
1990s.
And if you had such a great
in my head,
time
I
that
heard
all the
1890.
candelabras from the barn... This is
Was
what happens in the barn. If you had such a good time, you were dancing, the candelabras would sway and then light the barn on fire.
Rachel's insane because she grew up Orthodox, so she doesn't understand anything about the world.
That's secular world.
Yes.
That's a secular culture, right?
So this is bullshit that's coming out of their mouth
And
right
Rachel
now.
is not just she didn't just grow up Orthodox. She is Orthodox.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. I don't really use the word Orthodox so much because a lot of people, when they see me the way I practice, they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's Orthodox. But I definitely grew up modern Orthodox, grew up in Teaneck, New Jersey.
Shout out.
Yes.
Teaneck.
Come from a very
That's where
modern
my sister-in-law's
Orthodox
family lives.
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't know
my
what that
God.
voice was.
We should hang out at Chickies.
It was very
Yeah.
teen-necky.
Dougie's. Chickies. Yeah.
Chickies. Oh my God. When Chickies
I like
came on the scene-
Dougie's. That was my fave.
Dougie's.
They had a Caesar salad at Dougie's. You know about Dougie's?
Yeah, but you got a Caesar salad at like age 9. You're like, I'm going to Dougie's to get that Caesar salad.
I only remember that one. I wasn't a Teaneck guy.
weren't-
I was in Queens and we go to Teaneck occasionally.
You weren't going to go to Chickies to get a Captain Munch?
You're just saying words at me now. I don't know either thing. I don't know about Orthodox things or secular things.
Well,
anyway, keep going.
You lived in Queens for a bit, right?
Yes,
So I
yeah.
also lived in Queens for 3 years where I went to, was it not Dr. Sandwich? Wasn't there something like that? So it's kind of like Chickies is a version of
Okay, got it.
So I grew up, sorry, Antonia, this is all going over your head.
I mean, as much as I'd love to spend the next hour talking about Chickies, and
I hope you don't cut this part.
Oh, this is
part,
in.
I want you can cut everything else. This is the
Just
one thing
leave
that I want
these
you to
3
leave.
minutes.
this is culture.
This is culture.
So back to your Orthodox
Right,
journey.
Yes.
So I grew up modern Orthodox, and I am from a
We
very...
went to Drisha together.
went to Judiasm together.
Tell the listeners about Drisha.
Oh, I feel like if I do it incorrectly, I'm gonna get in trouble because I have family that's like so involved in Drisha, but it's like a woman's Beit Midrash.
No, it's not. It's not. It's co-ed.
It's co-ed Beit Midrash.
Co-ed,
It started off as a women's
Upper
Beit
West-
Midrash.
Oh, maybe.
It's not even on the
Co-ed.
Upper West Side anymore, I don't think.
Used to, when we did it, I was on the Upper West Side.
Mhm.
That was my summer after freshman year of
Yeah.
college. And I don't know how old you were, but that was the first summer that I had sex with a woman. And it was my chavruta and my
There
roommate.
you go. I did not have the same experience. It was my summer after my year in Israel, and I was having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
But I have you guys covered the year in Israel on this podcast?
No,
What do you mean covered?
Please
it?
don't make me
Like-
the first person to talk about it here.
the classic post high school.
Which seminary were you in?
I was at Nishmat.
The
Yeah.
one where you learn.
Yeah.
That was the one where the Orthodox girls went who were serious about learning.
I love that. And
But they weren't.
But they were also they weren't that like
But they
also,
weren't so frum.
It was like
they
they were
weren't
serious
so
about learning like the
Orthodox.
guys learned. Like they weren't like
Yes.
trying to be like yeshivish or like wear a long skirt.
They weren't super They weren't. Yes, exactly.
I mean, like I think that's the thing about the term Orthodox.
They were
which-
like progressive and Orthodox.
I think that's the term which like it doesn't really exist so much I think out here on the West Coast, but is really like in Teaneck for sure. It's like people are like very serious about like halacha and Jewish law, and there's like a lot of women's learning. There's a lot of like really learned, thoughtful community, like women and just community members more than there is I think like in other Orthodox communities or even not Orthodox communities where like everybody the standard of learning and knowledge there is so high. So in some ways, in some places that comes off as super Orthodox Teaneck, and in some places that comes off as like progressive. I think it just depends on your experience. I mean, Teaneck's also different now than when I grew up.
What's the term? Halachic egal?
No, I wouldn't say anyone in Teaneck is egal. I mean, I'm sure there are people in egal, but none of the shuls are egal. I would just say like modern Orthodox.
Oh, okay. No, because you're like, there's a term that's only used on the East Coast.
No, I wouldn't say it's a term that's only used on the East Coast.
Am I making that up?
She said that this was a thing that mostly exists.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Oh no,
I don't know. We have to review the tape.
Cut the whole thing.
Oh my
God.
gosh, I was really
over.
nervous coming over.
So you grew up in this like modern Orthodoxy culture.
Did you know you were queer?
were studying, yeah. You're queer, and you're also still practicing, and that is an unlikely combination. On our podcast, you're only the second person who's queer and still practicing in an Orthodox way. Mm-hmm. And I think you're probably more Frum than the other guest. I mean,
not to Frum shame anyone.
Not to Frum shame.
I would say, okay, it's interesting. So yeah, I grew up in a modern Orthodox family. I came also from like my family is my like immediate family, but also I have this huge extended family on both sides where like I think I had like a couple of cousins who stopped practicing. Pretty much everybody kept Shabbat, kept kosher in the same way, which is, and a really loving and wonderful family as well. I have to put that out there.
Absolutely.
No, but definitely. I would say that I think I always knew I was queer. I didn't have the words for it, but I think I always knew this doesn't mean if you have these feelings, it means that you're queer, but like I knew like I hated like pink. I hated anything that was too girly. I considered myself a tomboy, but tomboy back then also meant good at sports, which I was not.
Yeah, good God.
I was a musical
We've got to
theater
redefine
tomboy.
that word.
I don't know, and I didn't like anything that was too feminine. And I went to kindergarten and I had an infatuation with this classmaid of mine who I now realize like, oh my God, that was my first crush 100%. But I was like,
cute.
Yeah. I think I was like, she's like, I said to my mom, I was like, she's so cool and she's blonde.
And you haven't changed at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And her name is Galinda.
Her name is Galinda the Good Witch. But yeah, so I always knew, and I still practice. I don't consider myself Orthodox, but I practice in the way that I practice, and that I keep Shabbat in a certain way, and I keep kosher in a certain way. And I actually get very like nervous when people are like, "Oh, well, you're so, like." I have one friend who is also queer, and I have a few friends who are queer and practice in the way that I practice.
Yeah.
I have one friend who is queer, and he's also in Orthodox or somewhat adjacent practices similar to me. And he's always like, my insecurity is that people don't think I'm Frum enough. And I'm like, I'm always afraid when people think I'm too Frum. And like people,
Well, it probably depends on what circles you're in, right? Like it's all relative.
I think it's every circle essentially. Like even like the people that I've like dated here, like have thought maybe like I'm like, they might have thought that my religious practice at first was like kind of cool, but then thought like maybe it was like a little cringe, which is a direct quote, but
from who?
I'm not sharing. I don't speak Lashon Hara.
That's Yenta.
It's so
That's
cringe
the whole
of
thing.
them.
Yeah,
It's so cringe of them to be
say
like,
that.
your religious practice is cringe.
They're a good person. They're a good person.
I know exactly who it is.
We hate them.
I do not hate them. They're a good person. I like them a lot. And that was just a comment that it was helpful for me, because when she said it was a bit cringe, I was like, oh, that's actually a good thing for me to know. That's actually like, I don't need this. I'm basically on here for shidduchim. Basically, I'm trying to get on here and find somebody, but I don't need somebody who practices the way that I do.
Slide into Rachel's DMs,
Yeah.
cuties.
I don't need someone to practice the way that I do or to believe the way that I do, but I just want someone who doesn't think that what I do is cringe. And that was actually a really good marker.
Yeah.
Just to interrupt you, because I have to say this, I think that you should submit to the Yenta matchmaking project.
Yes.
Because we're getting amazing submissions. Just say yes for the camera so that it convinces other listeners.
If you
that
want to
they
date
have to
Rachel,
do
you
it.
have to sign up for the Yenta matchmaking project. Don't slide into her DMs.
Yes, exactly. These are my Eliza Ben Shaloms, and I'm only being represented by them.
Literally.
And you have to pay us
Yeah.
$10,000.
Well, you have to pay Eliza Ben Shalom too.
Exactly.
There we go.
That's why we are them. No, it's free.
It's free.
We'll
The
do it.
Yenta matchmaking
By the way,
project.
here's something. I was watching. I was watching Jewish matchmaking on Netflix, but I was really into it, and I was watching it with my mom of blessed memory, and we were like really into it, and we like thought it was awesome. We really liked her vibe, and like I slid into her DMs, Lisa Ben Shalom, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys set up queer couples?" And I never heard back. So I'm assuming the answer is a no. But
Or she didn't see the message.
But
Either
I
one.
think
she's too famous.
No, I think she definitely saw it,
yeah.
and she was like, "No," because first of all,
Yeah.
no one ignores my
No,
How could they?
You're too
But I think if you
famous.
want to pitch yourself as Jewish queer matchmaking to Netflix,
You're
Buy
so
us
right.
Netflix.
So
You already have Jewish matchmaking. You already have Indian matchmaking, and now do Jewish queer Indian matchmaking.
we will work with the Indian community
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
We
We work with
absolutely
everyone.
will.
and I'm getting 10% of this, right? I just thought
Yeah.
everyone sees that I got that idea.
Yeah, we'll
You're getting
negotiate.
your
We'll negotiate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the Yenta matchmaking is just for all of you to know. It's for queer people and for straight people and for Jews and for non-Jews.
And you
So
can
it's really for everyone.
submit.
Yeah.
You can submit. There's going to be a link in the episode description
Yeah.
wherever you're watching this, and on all of our social medias, we'll have Patreon exclusive episodes where we go behind the scenes of the matchmaking process, and that's just for our Patreons. But anybody can submit, and we already have a lot of actually great submissions.
Yeah, I'm excited to
Have
go
you been
over them.
reading
I
any
have
of
been
them?
reading. They're great.
Me
They're
too.
hot.
I know. I'm really excited about
Rachel, what are you looking for in a lover, in a partner?
Partner. Well, I believe that gender is fluid. So I'm shomer negiah with everyone.
Okay.
Just in case.
So just in case.
Just in case
Don't-
we don't
idea.
line up gender wise and have to be
Shomer
negiah.
negiah means you don't traditionally means you don't touch someone of the opposite gender, but in
This
in
case,
this,
it's-
just
I'm
don't
just being
you just
careful with
don't
everyone.
touch anyone.
So
ever.
I need somebody who's totally cool with me never ever touching until mikvah night.
until
yeah.
marriage.
Yeah, until we go there.
We actually
Nice.
we had to put your microphone on the table for you
Yeah.
then to pick
Yeah,
up.
we couldn't pass
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're really strict.
I actually was hoping that Raye would like that joke a lot better and then want to steal it for their show. But
Which
the
joke?
The joke I just said about being
That you
gender
don't
fluid and
touch
shomer
anyone.
negiah, but
I love that.
they didn't like it that much. I'm not going to take it for the for their
For our
stand-up.
show?
No, for your stand. I
Oh.
thought you were like, oh, that was so fun. Basically, anyone who's like a comedy producer, which I try to be, always has this dream, like, of like a small little one, like maybe stand up. They don't really want to do it, but a little bit.
Bro.
But then when they say one joke, they're always hoping that the stand ups in their life will be like, that's fucking brilliant. Can you say that again?
Bro.
Louder in the can.
I'd use so many of your jokes in the
Yeah.
in the storytelling show
Yeah,
that we
was
did.
fun. That was fun.
That crushed.
That was great.
That crushed.
We got to do another one.
Yes, we have to do another one.
But yeah, I think I'm looking for somebody like cool and
Hot.
sure.
What was the term that you used?
Oh, that I'm a hot sexual.
A hot sexual.
That I'm attracted to hot people.
Yeah.
I am a hot
That's it.
sexual.
That's very
By the
vague.
way,
Cool and hot.
TM, like we're still working on it. I'm still trying to figure out the exact definition because I'll bring it up at every Shabbat meal that I'm at. To a range of ages and different experiences and sexualities.
Hot is on the inside.
Not to a hot sexual. No.
Sorry. That was my bad. I'm so dumb.
Everyone's gonna think I'm such a dick now.
Yeah, they will.
But you'll
no,
bring
no.
this up to lots of people.
I talked about this with you
I know.
in a car
And-
on our way to a very serious event.
a very serious event.
Funeral.
It was a political event.
Oh,
It
okay.
was very serious. And I agreed with you that I too am a hot sexual.
Yeah.
And I've really raked it in the hots that I've dated.
You really did.
I know.
You really
And
did.
you're just seeing the husband. You should have seen the literal models that I dated. Multiple.
That's amazing.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
That's pretty great.
Show us
I really
pictures.
date up.
Show us pictures. We'll put it on the Patreon.
No, that's really cool. I mean, I think like, I don't know, Raye, but the person who you are with now is very hot.
Very hot. But you've told me before that I have very low standards.
I did not say low standards. I said you had a wide range of
It's true.
sexual interests.
So basically, I'll fuck anyone. Slide in my DMs.
Listen, listen. I mean, I'm shomer negiah, so it's never.
And
I can't
what's
speak
the
from
opposite
experience.
of shomer negiah? Shomer. Unshomer negiah.
That's
Smart.
it. That's
Okay,
how they
wait.
say it.
Before Drisha, actually, you and I have a mutual friend, one of your best friends ever, Jacob.
Jacob, shout out.
And Jacob and I were in a summer program.
Yeah.
And first of all, this summer program was like the Frumest summer program. Like we were so frum. We were on a bus, and the rule that was we were not allowed to sit. Boys and girls were not allowed to sit next to each other. Boys and girls. We're not allowed to sit next to each other. Whatever. Sit next to each other. On the long bus rides, because what if somebody falls asleep and then they lean over and they break shomer negiah.
Mm-hmm.
So we
what
would
if they
remind our counselors of that and say,
asleep?
oh, I can't sit next to this person because this bus ride is longer than 45 minutes. It was deranged actually. But we were on it, and there was like, I think at least 4 people on this bus. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there were at least 4 people on this bus who is an out queer person now. There might even be more. One of them is our dear friend Jacob.
Yes.
Who is he still is, but as a 16-year-old, like this adorable, gingy, hilarious guy.
Yeah.
And he had a song about shomer negiah.
A song.
And I remembered it for this podcast.
What is the song?
I don't know if you have copyright issues with Lonely Island, but it's based off of
We'll
I
work
Just
it
Had
out.
Sex.
Don't worry.
And I think it goes, and Jacob, you can call into the pod and tell us.
Jacob does not listen to this podcast. And he shouldn't.
and he can fix line, but I think it goes, I just broke shomer and it felt so good. I broke shomer when I touched her with my elbow. And then I forgot. It kept on going. And then there's one part where like the rap part of it, and he goes, I just broke shomer. It felt great. I didn't mean to do it. It was literally an accident. Oh, it felt so good when I touched her with my elbow. I didn't mean to do it. It was literally an accident. And at the time I was like, this kid is a genius. This is the greatest song I've ever heard. And Jacob and I were very shomer on that trip.
Yeah, and you really wanted to touch each other so bad the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And you just couldn't because you were so from.
Yeah.
I just need to know, are there more overlaps of queer frum culture that are happening like I just broke shomer?
That's so funny.
Yeah, all over, like, go to Brooklyn. Like, you'll see it everywhere. Like, all over the East Coast. I mean, there was a lot of, like, kitschy songs like that. I'm trying to think what else. But
that clip is going to blow up.
It's going to blow up.
I just broke shoulder.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It was so... And please, if you were on bus 3, please tell me. If I'm forgetting some lyrics, the song was a banger. And
we'll have to just tell Jacob to come and do the song.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that kid so much. He's not whimsical like that anymore.
What happened?
Age. No, he's hilarious. I just think he would never.
You know what?
Maybe
There's
he
a
would.
certain, people say the closet's a bad place, but it's also a very creative place. We were both closeted and we were very creative.
You've lost all your energy since
yeah.
coming out.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm just like myself and I don't have to be like overcompensate for anything.
Well, that's a real thing that like when you're in like after you leave the closet, you like need more attention because you spent so much time like being scared of it.
being scared of attention.
Yes, because you don't want to be
So you
drawn
have
attention.
to catch up on
Yeah.
everything you missed.
Yes.
Did you experience that?
What do you think this podcast is? I actually had a question for both of you, but also for Raye. And this question is kind of a question I hate getting, but I'm going to ask you anyway. If you weren't queer, do you think you'd be a comic?
I don't know. Probably. I think I would be, because I still would have. I still would have. I don't know. Would
It's hard
you?
to know.
Yeah, it's. I want to say yes, but now I'm thinking about it more. I'm like, maybe not, because maybe I wouldn't have had so many issues with. I mean, it was definitely the combination of being queer and then also like coming out of the Orthodox community as like a result of being queer, and that they're really so enmeshed with each other that it's hard to tell one from the other. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I definitely think it was part of like. I think part of it, the comic thing was like needing to process all of that shit.
Yeah. No.
Mm.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, not
Antonio?
just comedy, like art, creativity,
Yeah.
etc.
For me, my desperate need for attention is tied directly to my mom's coldness, which started long before I knew I was queer.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I was already holding people hostage while I did comedy routines for them
Like as a child.
before my sexuality even showed up.
Yeah.
Your parents are scientists, right?
Yeah, that means they have great social skills.
That's awesome.
So I think we can be actually pretty sure that I'd
You'd still be doing
be
it.
this obnoxious.
I always wonder what I would be like if I was straight. I feel like I'd be
Yeah.
like boring but very content, modern Orthodox.
Right. You never would have left. I mean, you didn't
woman
leave.
with my wearing a baseball hat. I would have been like something that my family would have loved to see, but I think like I don't know. Maybe as soon as I think when I go back home to Teaneck, and there's a lot to love about Teaneck, and I don't have hate for it. I have a ladybird point of view on it. Like Rear View Mirror, I learned a lot from there. I made my best friends, like the person I do Hamantaschen Monologues with,
Molly.
I know from my modern Orthodox school,
Yeah.
high school, and that was I had a great experience there. And but sometimes I go back and I see some of the uniforms that people wear in those worlds, and I don't know. I get more judgmental than I would like, because really everyone has their own shit and everyone is just trying to live a good life. But I think that a part of me like sees like a sliding doors version of my life there.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
The movie Sliding Doors, where it's
I haven't
like
seen that one.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
She one thing happens and it changes the direction of her life. And for the movie, we see what would have happened in her life if that thing didn't happen, or if
Right.
that thing did happen, and you see them.
So your thing
next
is
to each
is
other.
queer.
Yeah, if
being
I just
queer.
like wasn't queer.
How
Like
does
a
your-
one little thing.
It's a big no
Yeah.
big
Do you
deal.
think you would have stayed in Teaneck and like stayed in that community?
I don't know. I think kind of like what Raye said. Like I think that's why I hate the question that I asked, because it's like
Fuck
how
you,
can you
Rachel.
know, right?
Yeah.
I definitely don't think I would be as interested in television and film. I think I'd probably be content like being a good job, getting a good job, and like finding partnership and starting a family, and I wouldn't need anything else to prove my worth. I wouldn't have any I think everyone who comes out to LA and wants to make it big here, like it's amazing and it's great. I'm not saying I'm someone who moved out here to want to make it big, but like I think everyone here, it's a little bit of a sickness.
Yeah, but we're all so damaged.
And we're like,
I love it though.
I know.
I go to other cities and I'm like, what is everyone doing
like, what the
here?
fuck? We just think your life is not worth anything unless you're on a podcast.
Yeah. I'm so inspired and motivated by other people around me that are like fighting for their dreams, that I'm like, oh, you're just content with like doing like not nothing, but like with whatever you have. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but I also really like being around people that are pushing for their.
I think
Okay.
they're too.
Here's my question. This is a tangent because this is something I really wanted to talk to you about.
Please.
Which is, we have a lot of young queer Jewish listeners who are trying to figure out where they're going in life. And you are part of this like very queer, somewhat from,
Very Frum. There we go.
a very queer and observant Jewish community here in LA. And I was wondering
Yeah.
if you could talk a little bit about what that community looks like, just to give people a picture of what's out there.
So I would say that I'm giving a picture of what's here in Los Angeles, but if you go to New York, there's like
way more.
15,
Yeah.
and Philadelphia and Chicago. Like
Boston.
I have friends.
Doesn't Boston have a queer mikvah?
Yeah, like it's all over, like
Yeah.
these like cities all over the East Coast. So it's really not unique, but I do have a beloved synagogue here.
Do you want to shout them out, or that would hurt their reputation?
You know what? I'm not sure.
So let's leave it out.
So we'll keep it. But you know who you are.
Beautiful shul. I was there for the
yeah.
first time for your shal shidduch.
And there are multiple gay couples in the shul. Some are married, some are not. Some got recently married.
Did they announce the marriage at
They-
shul?
Okay, so now this is why it's good I didn't say what the shul is, because I don't
Yeah.
remember what the latest on this all is. But I think they write an announcement. They say, like, they acknowledge it. They don't use the word mazel tov,
Yeah.
but they don't use mazel tov is like a halachic
I learned about this in my
term.
support group. Like,
is
it's
wild.
so interesting the ways that Orthodox synagogues are like navigating gay couples.
But you know what? The rabbi of my shul, this is not a secret. Like, the rabbi of shul attended as a guest one of these gay weddings in our shul.
Great.
And I
Tony's
haven't-
like, so?
I know.
Yeah.
For those,
A very
But
low
I hear
bar, yeah.
I hear it for the
Yeah, it's a
like
big
the
deal.
victory it is.
and I would say that this couple, every couple, I think in our shul, we've had some couples I think leave because they wanted more. But I think that what really makes our shul, makes shul really special is that I actually think it's a place where people really do. There's all the Orthodox stuff and the questions, Muslim, not Muslim, but I really did feel it was a place that really accepts me or accepts people for who they are, and not because it's zeitgeisty and cool, and not because it's what they think they should do. It's because they really, I think, like if you come to our shul like on a random like week, people will say hello to you, people will ask how you're doing, people want to help you, want to care for you. And I see there's a lot of gay people in my shul.
But it's mechitza.
There is a mechitza, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, you know, I think there's a lot of
Are
different.
there any trans people?
There are.
Ah.
Yeah.
And they sit on like the side
I
of
think-
their gender.
I think so. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you used to live, now you're kind of a nomad, but you used
Yeah.
to live with other queer
Yeah.
observant people.
Yeah. I used to mix with people. Yeah.
Do you have, how many observant people do you hang out with who aren't queer?
How many observant people do I hang out with that aren't queer? Well, I'm about to move to the East Coast again. It's very sad. And I'm about to hang out with a lot more observant people who aren't queer.
Yeah.
Those are all my dear friends back on the East Coast. But here, a few.
I think
I
that
have
is-
mostly queer community here.
I think that is so notable.
Yeah.
And like a good thing for our younger listeners
Yeah.
to hear.
It's possible.
That
it's
is
so
possible.
It's possible in so many cities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, if you're from the East Coast and you wanted to see what life would be like out west, it's possible here too.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably possible in a lot of places. Like, I
thi-
think it's becoming, I mean, who knows, as you know, like what's to come in these next few months. But since all of our phone lines are being tapped now by Homeland Security.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's totally possible. I think this is the thing when I talk about like to younger people is I never want to like give anyone like, I'm very happy to talk to anyone. And I know, and because people spoke to me when I was in my coming out process, and I was like, you know, when I was living in New York, when I was coming out, I went to JQI, I went to all that stuff, and they were really helpful. I think that like I'm happy to talk to anyone, but I also always afraid of being called like the model of, oh, this person is queer and observant, because life's a journey. Don't know where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
And as I said, like I know
Do you feel pressure to be observant?
I don't, I think it depends on the day.
Huh.
I think mostly I don't feel pressure to observe in the way that I observe now. Like, I think things that I do, I don't feel pressure. And some things that I do feel a little pressure, but I think a lot about like Rami, the show Rami, which is like one of my favorite shows.
Mm-hmm.
And like he talks about like, being part of the millennial world, this world that doesn't believes that you're only living for now. And then part of the religious world believes that, you're doing something for something greater, something beyond this world. And so I think sometimes I feel pressure if I'm doing things about like, does this feel genuine to me? But also like, do I just do religion when it feels easy to me? Like I'm trying to find that balance of what Rami's talking about, like living my life that feels like what comes to me, what feels good to me, but also feeling like, as religious, but there's something beyond me. And I'm not really sure exactly. And I don't think anybody has it 100% correct. I'm a big contrarian. But do
you feel like that when you keep Shabbat or kosher, you're doing it for something greater than you?
Sometimes I feel like I'm doing it for myself, and sometimes I feel like I'm doing it as a routine. But like I think that I feel like I'm like I think there's a part of me feels like I'm doing it as part of like my as part of my family tradition. Like I'm doing it as part of, and it's a part of who I am.
Did you ever stop?
I mean, no. There have been like weekends where I've been more lax and whatever than other times. And there's been restaurants where I've been more lax than other times. But, this summer I went on a big trip and I was on my own. Yeah, I was on my own. And it was really the time where I was like away from everybody, where I could have just like literally stopped keeping it. And if I was worried about community whatever, or my family, I could have done it. No one would know.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I actually like really loved the Shabbats I spent in Australia when I met other Jews in Australia. I met like the sole religious couple in Hobart, Tasmania. And they were like lovely and they hosted me. And I met all these really cool people. And then I was keeping Shabbat like in a hostel with my friend. And we met like all these like awesome people from different walks of life. And I think there I was like, oh, there clearly is something here that really speaks to me about this and that I want in my life. But then there are some times where I'm really pissed at the world, the Jewish community, whatever, where I'm just like, I can't believe I still do this. So I think it's like it's a journey. I also think that it's like a journey that I've been on a lot, like for a while, like on my own. And if I were to like kind of have more of a life with somebody else, I would also like kind of figure a way to like adjust, figure out how to kind of maybe make something different, or maybe it would shift, or maybe it wouldn't. Okay. But I have a lot of,
let's go.
I have a lot of gay family members actually that have come out. I think I'm not going to say the exact number because some are out, some are not out, but I have like more than 3.
Wow.
And
it is genetic.
It is genetic, and it's on both sides. So it's really Ashkenazi.
You really got it.
It's really
no
Ashkenazi. Yeah. It's on both sides. And I have family members who do not observe the way that I observe. I have family members who might observe more than I do, and who are queer, and they might observe more than I do, and I have people who are figuring it out, and so I think that and that's cool. And I think to me, like I grew up with such a big family, which was been really nourishing at times. Other times can feel like a heavy weight, but it's really cool to have like also gay family who does a range of different things and like kind of is there for you and accepts you kind of whatever you're doing, and also feels like a future that I would build. Like I wouldn't have to be the only one in my family that's family looks different, So I have a lot of love for my cousins. Love you guys.
My God, I don't
know if they're watching this or not. I think, by the way, I know I've been like very cagey about so many things. I'm sure that when my family hears this, they're going to be horrified. Horrified that I'm cursing. I'm cursing. That's
you didn't
foul
curse
language.
one time.
Foul language.
Did you curse?
I mean, you don't.
You guys
register.
You guys don't hear it anymore.
I don't care.
Yeah, They'll be like, hard, like that use really, really foul language there, Rachel.
Foul.
And then that I'm talking about being queer on a podcast
Oh
in
my
this
in this environment,
in this climate.
But are they worried because Trump is coming after queer people, or are they worried because they don't like queer people because they think queer people are anti-Israel?
I think they just like view this as private.
Yeah,
like being
yeah.
like, you know, I think some do, some don't. I think it was a big shift, but like I come from a wonderful family, also a family where privacy is a big thing, and part of a different friend told me about an idea of like the difference between privacy and secrets. And
what is the difference?
so my favorite form of getting advice is getting advice from a friend who has a more expensive therapist than I do.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I got this advice from them. And I think the idea is privacy is something that, like, if it were to get out, it wouldn't be earth-shattering terrible. It would just be something that might be a little embarrassing. You'd prefer for it not to be out there. And I think a secret is something that, like, has all this, like darkness around it.
That's why we do a secret every episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good.
Multiple secrets.
Good
Exactly.
transition. Speaking of secrets, let's transition to the best part of the episode.
Yeah.
You brought a secret for us.
I did bring a secret. Okay, so can we just like talk about the secret? Like, you should know the secret is something that like I have been like nervous about coming on the pod because of this. Because I'm like, everyone that comes on Yenta tells like the coolest like hookup,
Threesome.
dating thing, and these we know I'm shomer negiah with everybody.
As
so,
we know.
So
Parents, did you hear that?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have any of that to share. So then I was like, oh, I'll share something. And Antonia's like, great. Or anything juicier would be good. And I'm like, well, sorry, but in my rider, I specifically said. So then I thought we were in a fight and coming on this pod, but no. I'll share. So this year, this is like a secret-ish, but you know, it's I haven't said it on a podcast.
It's not
before.
public information.
Not public information. I got a mastectomy this year, which is when folks are either they have cancer or they have a genetic mutation that might mean they might have cancer in the future. Breast cancer specifically. BRCA. They get their boobs removed essentially, and they get all the fat and tissue out from there. And I was very fortunate enough to be one of the folks who just has a hereditary Ashkenazi mutation.
Score.
And was not doing it because I currently had cancer. So thank God I did not have cancer, and I know a lot of people go through that many different ways, and I salute everybody. It's a hard decision. But I was like first kind of treating it as like whatever. I wear like whatever. Like my clothing that I wear has evolved, and I wear like more like I'd say like the clothing I wear is like more like pants and suits and button down, and like I was like, okay, this might even like kind of up my style
with no titties.
Yeah, with no titties, exactly. And then I was like, I think I'm just gonna do like Tig Notaro did this. She's one of my icons, one of my queer icons. She just like went after she had a double mastectomy when she found cancer, and she went flat. And I was like, I think I'm gonna go flat. And you know, like I think it's gonna like kind of look good. I think it might even feel kind of good, whatever. And I was like, really into this. My family was like, "Are you sure?
Yeah.
You sure you don't want?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure."
Yeah.
And then it was and I met with a lovely surgeon who, can I shout it out?
Yes.
Who also does top surgeries.
Yep. Who I am seeing, and we're obsessed with him.
I just saw him yesterday for the last time. I thought I was going to cry. I thought I was going to cry. He smiled and wished me the best.
What kind of suit was he wearing?
He was wearing scrubs.
Scrubs.
He fit me in. Wow. Because he is such a...
On a surgery day, when he normally wears the most dapper suits, he is so put together he's a plastic surgeon, so he's like in this world of appearances, and he really nails it.
Yeah. So I went to Australia after this, and then I was like, I'm good. And then I was like, wait a minute, what if I change my mind? So then I do a call with Dr. from from Australia, and I'm like, hi. He's like, hello, and I'm like, so how irreversible is going flat? And he's like, listen, like it's not easy to reverse it. And then I had 3 weeks when I was panicking.
Yes,
like
I remember
before
this.
crying. Like, what if I don't know? What if I think I do? I don't think. It was really intense, and I decided in the end, which like is kind of interesting because I really felt like I knew. I was like, I think this like is a good natural progression for me. Like I think this like I've had life with this part of my body, and I'm okay with it, like living without it. But I just had a complete meltdown, which had me binge The Perfect Couple on yes, because I needed a little Nicole Kidman. I came for Nicole Kidman, but I stayed for my girlfriend Eve Hewson, who doesn't know that I exist. But we're not together like in the traditional sense, in that she knows me or feels beholden to me.
You're in love.
But we're together. We're in love. We're in love.
Yes.
It's we're an interfaith couple.
Yes.
She grew up Irish Catholic, maybe, or Bono, whatever religion Bono is. And
Cult of Bono.
Bono. She grew up Bono, which I respect and think is beautiful. I love you too.
Yes.
But so anyway, so I was working out a lot of these feelings with her on the TV, and I decided, like literally in the last minute, I decided to put in tissue expanders that would give me the opportunity, if I so wanted, to put in implants a few months later. And this is what's different between like a mastectomy and top surgery. So top surgery, very important, very, very important for folks who want to totally pro top surgery, trans rights or human rights. And
now that we got that out of the way.
Yeah. Now that I put a real target on my head.
All of our transphobic listeners have turned off.
Yeah, exactly. Now that I put a real target on my head. It is like, because it's considered to be more of a cosmetic type of surgery. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want anyone to be like, it's not cosmetic. It's necessary. I'm not saying it's not necessary.
Gender affirming, life-saving surgery.
Cosmetic can still be necessary.
Yes.
Cosmetic to the insurance companies.
Yes, sure. And that you do get to keep a lot of your tissue. And it's really to kind of create a different look. And so, but when you get a mastectomy, they take out all of your like nerves. They take out every scrape.
Yeah.
Think about like earwax scraping the wall. It all comes back to earwax. And you don't have any feeling in that area anymore. And so like when I had the tissue expanders in, it just kind of felt like I had like this like, and they fill it with water. It's a whole thing. You can look it up. Share it. Go to share and learn all about it. It just kind of felt like I had these like blobs on me that I couldn't feel. And it wasn't really doing anything for me. And I was just like, I'd rather have less skin that I can't feel. And I think I'm actually really fine going flat than for me to have these blobs. I don't think I need the blobs on me.
Which is kind of what you said in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. It came full circle.
And that's a good lesson, I feel like, in like just not listening to what your family tells you.
Yeah. I will say it's two things. One is it's a good lesson to trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
That's if you have OCD like I do, and you never know exactly what your gut is telling you, it's also a good thing if there's an option that gives you another step before you make the decision.
Yes.
A major thing like changing your body. Don't have to rush it.
That's what my plastic surgeon said to me yesterday when I went to go find out about Botox.
Oh.
That gender affirming procedure.
And that's all I'll say about that.
But Antonia, I brought Antonia a gift today for when Antonia has their surgery.
I'm pretty excited about this.
It's a wedge pillow. It's amazing. First of all, it's amazing for a lot of things.
I used to have a wedge pillow for severe acid reflux. Got that under control, so I'm thrilled a wedge pillow is back in my life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's wonderful. And then I brought Raye an equally thoughtful gift.
Yes. Cables.
Yeah.
Cords.
You know,
Bungee.
they're like,
Bungee
you're
cords.
a dyke, you'll like these.
That's what I said. But also, and Ray's like, what the fuck am I ever going to do with this bullshit? That's the way Raye talks when they're off.
That was
camera.
such a good impression.
I know.
Dead
What
on.
the fuck is going on here?
Uncanny.
And literally,
I'm
Raye.
so annoying.
I'm like, Raye, stop. And I'm like, Raye, these bungee cables are gonna save your life one day.
When the
When the apocalypse comes, you have to take your car.
And then I said,
and you have to hide
know
something.
about the bug out bags. I
Yeah,
have
but you need
searched
to-
on
But then
Amazon.
people are gonna search your, people might pull you over for like being gay because our phones are gonna track us. This is not
Yeah.
good for young queer listeners. It's not gonna happen.
It's
but
like this
you'll
terrible.
have these cords.
Good. And I'll know how to use them too.
Yeah.
Wow, great apocalyptic note to end on. On that note, I think we should wrap things up.
Yes,
wrap it.
that was amazing.
Rachel, you're amazing. This
You
is
guys are
amazing.
So much, Rachel.
What can we plug of yours?
So I'm part of a team for this incredible community called the Hamantaschen Monologues. We did for the past 4 years these live shows. We started virtually over Zoom. We did this whole amazing hybrid event. You guys had incredible stories. And now in our 5th year, we're on to the newest development where we are premiering our I just ruined it. Our Hamantaschen Monologues podcast season 1. We're going to have an incredible season where we have stories from previous years that you got to hear never before heard beyond the pod. And then we're going to have listener call-ins where they get to share their juicy pieces of story.
Like
based
the
on,
moth.
I like that.
I don't think listeners call in to share. It's more like probably every other podcast you heard, but not like the moth.
Oh, okay.
The moth is going to be more like old story. I don't think I should keep on mentioning the moth on
I
this
love
podcast.
the moth.
But we are very inspired and we love the moth. We have a lot of love for them. And we are going to feature old stories on our podcast. We're going to have listeners call in and share their own little anecdotes. They get to do this anonymously if they want, because so many people have told me, I wish I could tell a Hamantaschen story. I just never want my face and name attached to
Yeah.
it. Guess what? You can
Oh,
call our
that's good.
hotline. We're going to have a whole thing, and you'll get to share it
Love
anonymously.
That's so fun.
We're going to put it on the pod. We're going to have an interview segment.
Oh, shit.
I'm not the host. We have this amazing host, Becca Tam, who is going to be hosting the podcast. And that's really exciting and a lot of good stuff coming. That's premiering March 13th. Whoa. And we've got on the other end, because we still love our live shows, we're going to launch something called Hamantaschen Homegrown, where we're trying this in Brooklyn this year. We're going to have the exact date a little bit later, not Purim time, a little bit later, where we're going to have a pop-up show where in an awesome community and have 4 people share stories. Who we don't
Who's
have
running it?
I'm running. So basically,
you're
I'm
running
running it
Brooklyn.
for the pop-up. I'm running it, and Molly and our team's running it. But then we're hoping to be able to distribute this to
Yeah.
other communities.
Do you know Zach
Great.
Adler? He's really tapped in like the Crown Heights Brooklyn art scene, and he
Yeah.
runs like little shows, like kind
Oh,
of what you're talking
cool.
about, Jewish shows.
Cool.
So
I'd love to connect.
oh my god!
Oh, whoa. Hi. Someone just
We just had a
came.
visitor.
We need the bungee cords.
Lock the door.
You know what could keep the door closed?
bungee cords.
The bungee cords.
The bungee
I
cord.
said one day this would
scared of my whole
save
life.
your life. This is also, imagine if that wasn't actually an invasion story, like classic. Like what was the scene, officer? Well, the 3 people were doing a podcast.
And an Amazon delivery person came in
Yeah.
and murdered them.
But yeah, we're
Ray's-
gonna have a
Ray's
lot
going
of
to
good
lock.
info on the Hamantaschen Homegrown, bringing it to communities all over the world who want to bring some of the magic in their community. We're gonna hopefully have a stipend for people to do it, and we've got exciting stuff going on.
I love this. We just want to plug our Patreon one more time.
Please,
So, if you've listened to the end of an episode,
I've been on your Patreon.
Truly, you would love the Patreon.
Yeah.
You've been on the Patreon. It's really juicy stuff. It's where we put all the stuff that's too juicy for the regular feed. It would ruin everyone's careers.
Uncut,
And-
unreleased episodes,
Uncut-
bonus episodes, shout outs on the pod, private live stream Zoom hangouts with me and Antonia if you're at the $36 tier.
That's right. We've got different tiers and they're all amazing. And now coming soon, there's the exclusive Yenta matchmaking series that will happen on the Patreon where you'll actually hear the matchmaking process. Honestly, like I would listen to this. And if you're a listener of any kind, you can submit to the Yenta matchmaking. All the information is available literally everywhere. You can click on our names and it's great. You can find me at Antonia Lastar on social media.
At Raye Schiller, rayschiller.com/shows. Should we plug Vancouver? Too soon.
Too soon.
Okay.
And yeah, you should follow the Hamantaschen Monologues at Hamantaschen Monologues on I'm not supposed to plug my own thing here.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You were
Plug
like,
it.
you're talking over. So you should follow the Hamantaschen Monologues on Instagram. We also have a Patreon, but I'm not going to promote it because you can't promote 2 Patreons on one episode.
That's crazy.
We have a website, and check us out March 13th, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get podcasts.